Hot off the presses, Ron Rivera, in probably the final decision he'll make as the head coach slash de facto president of the Washington Commanders, has named Jacoby Brissett starter versus the 49ers and probably for the remainder of the season. Our final 2 weeks versus San Fran and versus Dallas. This should be a shocker to nobody, considering Sam looks cooked. He looks shell-shocked, and he's seeing go circa Sam Darnold 2020. So we all knew this was coming. Sam threw for 50 yards and 2 picks on Sunday. The week before, threw for 100 yards, no touchdowns and a pick. And the week before that, another 127-yard game. Since the Seattle game that took place in the beginning of November, it's been a laundry list of meh, bad, and can't start him football. So we knew it was coming. I want to pour one out for the Sam Howell was a starter in Washington era in DC. 4-11 this year, 3,600 yards, 19 touchdowns, 17 picks, 5 rushing touchdowns. So 24 total touchdowns from Sam Howell during the Sam Howell era. And I think his era as the starter here in Washington, that chapter has now closed. We move on to the KG veteran who started about 50 games in his life. We knew it was coming. I don't think Ronald Eugene could look at Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, and the veterans in the eye and say, we're not playing the better option when 6 of the 8 possessions that he's been on the field with resulted in touchdown. When we could not score points in this last month, every time Brissett has got on the field, the ball is moved. You can call it garbage time. You can call it teams are in prevent. You can call it the game has been had. The offense looks like an offense when Jacoby Brissett has gotten on the field. And this goes to make me think about what's the quarterback situation going to look like next year in 2024. The answer to that question is we don't know. We don't know who the coach is yet. We don't know who the general manager is. Sam's under contract for the next 2 years making pennies. That's an advantageous contract to have as a backup quarterback. Brissett's going to make $8 to $10 million in the open market as a free agent next year. We don't know if we're going to bring Brissett back. We don't know if we're just going to run it back because we don't know who the coaches or the GMs are yet. I told y'all a couple weeks ago, Ron is the equivalent of trying to use up all your PTO, trying to swipe his key card on every door in the building to see what still works while it lasts. This is the swan song for the head coaching career of Ron Rivera. So he's just trying to press buttons at this point to see what works. And he kind of had to press this button because it's looked over and it's looked cooked for Sam for quite some time. RIP to the new Howell order that Louis T started, man. I know it's a rough time for my guy. RIP to the Rio saying Sam was the franchise quarterback of the future here for Washington. All of the above. It's over for that, y'all. Even if they do let him compete with a young guy, let's call a spade a spade. If they draft a quarterback, he's starting day one, point blank, period. No competition will be had. As far as these next 2 games go, even with Jacoby Brissett, the KG veteran, the backup spare tire wonder that he is, we're not beating San Francisco or Dallas because, one, San Francisco is coming off the ass whooping of a lifetime on Christmas Day in front of their families and in front of a national audience. The whole world watched Baltimore spank that ass, take them to the woodshed. They're coming in upset, and they're coming in trying to retain the number 1 seed in the NFC. This game matters for playoff implications. It does not matter for Washington. It means the world to the San Francisco 49ers. Expect a Christian McCaffrey masterclass. Expect a Nick Bosa dominant performance. Expect Chase Young to look like the Chase Young we drafted him to be in 2020, the one that we never really got to see past his rookie year. Expect all of the above when San Francisco comes to town. And I think Jacoby will try his damnedest, but we should be fine, y'all. Draft position shall be well intact because we are not beating the 49ers. And then moving on to week 18, we got the Dallas Cowboys, our arch rivals, nemesis, or used to be, if you still want to call it that, but they're going to be playing for it as well. They'll be playing for the NFC East with the Eagles. They're fighting for a division crown, playoff seeding on the line, great defense, We didn't compete with them at all on Thanksgiving. They stomped us and ate turkey with 7 minutes left on the clock. I don't think Jacoby Brissett is enough to have us suddenly competing with teams that possess title aspirations. But Ron made his final move as the shot caller, the Don Dada here in DC. We're 2 weeks away, and we don't have to talk about this guy or this weak ass regime ever, ever, ever again. Jacoby starting doesn't really move the needle, but you already knew it was coming. And then we're on to fun. We're on to new beginnings. We're on to Josh Harris, Magic Johnson, Mitchell Rels, Mark Ein and company putting their first true fingerprints on the build of their $6 billion purchase, where we're going to be shelving and hiring a new front office and shelving and hiring a new coaching staff here in DC with a true organizational structure for the first time in my life as a 32-year-old Washington Redskins football team Commander fan. This is going to be the first time that I've seen my team do this correctly. And they can build it in however they see fit. If they want to draft a quarterback high this year, go for it. If they don't want to draft a quarterback high this year, don't go for it. Whatever y'all want to do, y'all have my trust. Y'all have my fan equity and cash. Do what you got to do. Don't listen to us. We're just fans. Do whatever you feel is going to instill a winning culture and bring sustained success to this organization. I want to be a annual contender. You can't just build a Super Bowl winner from scratch immediately. Don't try to shortcut it. Don't try to go all in on a wild card spot in 2024. Build a sustainable winning roster. Make our business operations something that teams marvel about, envy, and want to replicate. Like the Baltimores and the Kansas Cities of the world, like the Philadelphias of the world, like the San Franciscos. So if you got to poach guys out of those buildings, that's what you need to do. What Ron did here does not need to be replicated. We do not need to do the coach-centric model with anybody. We do not need to have the coach wearing 17 hats for an organization. He does not need to be de facto president, in charge of making trade calls, head coach, delegator of team activities, and spokesman for the rebrand. We don't need a next coach doing that. Just pick your guys, do your due diligence in these interviews, and let's roll into 2024. Jacoby Brissett will be starting the final 2 games for the Washington Commanders, and what Ron Rivera calls not an indictment on Sam Howell. Sounds like an indictment to me. You benched him twice and then named his backup starter after the offense suddenly gained a pulse when the backup was supplanted the starter. That's an indictment, sir. You might want to go on Merriam-Webster, whatever you want to find. That's an indictment on the quarterback. You hate to see it, but in true Washington fashion, Ron had to uphold the long-standing tradition of Washington starting multiple quarterbacks. Let it continue. It's what we always do. It's what we know here. It's what we're used to. Jacoby Brissett will start the final 2 games of the season. Washington will finish 4-13. Then we're on to new beginnings in 2024 and beyond. That's all I got for right now. On the move, content to come. I'm going to get a preview in the next couple of days, and then we're on to one more week of Commanders football after we get through this 49ers week. That's all I got for right now. Hail to the Washington Commanders. Commander Rio out.